Morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dave Colby, President and CEO of the South Lake Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you all to our program this morning. Our program is Emergency Preparedness, and Sean Parks has facilitated this program for us. In just a minute, he will introduce our main speaker and have some comments himself. I do want to ask everyone to remain muted for the program. As you have questions throughout the program, please enter them into the chat feature, and Amanda will facilitate the questions with our speaker towards the end of the program. And I wanted to remind everybody that this program is being recorded and will be available for watching later. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our Lake County Commissioner from District 2, someone who's always there for us and very, very supportive of all the businesses in the South Lake area, Sean Parks. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, thank you, David. Well, good morning, everyone. It is another beautiful day in Lake County. And hopefully we will not be doing too many more of these Zoom meetings, but nevertheless, this is a great forum for us. So I am so honored and proud to be a part of this. And thank you to the South Lake Chamber for hosting Lake County, covering a very important topic, disaster preparedness. In fact, quite frankly, it's really one of the primary roles of local government, state government, and federal government to make sure that we are prepared for disasters. It's kind of one of the most basic fundamental things, if you will, that government does, that and infrastructure. So I'm really impressed that the Chamber is bringing this topic on. Usually we talk about roads and infrastructure and the importance of that, which is obviously extremely important. But today we'll talk about disaster preparedness. And I would like to point out that there is a role for the federal government in disaster preparedness and the state government as well, an even bigger role. But really, quite frankly, and this may be a little bit bold, but I really believe it's the truth, that probably the most important player, if you will, from the government side in disaster preparedness and responding to disasters is your local government. And we get that mixed up sometimes. We think that the feds are, and they can come in with lots of money and they have different tools. But quite frankly, it's really the most important way to respond and be prepared is at the local level. And today we have a great speaker, Spencer Costas, who actually lives in South Lake, lives in the Claremont area, is going to be our speaker. I'd just like to tell you that I'm just really proud to serve with Spencer. Spencer serves all of you, serves us in the Emergency Operations Center. And through 2020, I know Spencer and Tommy Carpenter have practically lived EOC pretty much the entire year with everything that's going on. And if this was a hurricane season, Spencer and Tommy would probably be literally living inside the EOC. They haven't had to do that as much, but nevertheless, they are engaged with EOC, disaster preparedness, how to respond to disasters, almost 24/7 through the last 3 or 4 months. Let's hope it's a quiet year from here on out, or quieter at least. But we have to prepare for hurricane season that's coming up. And I hate to even smile when I say that, but it's because everybody wonders what could go. What else? How much worse could 2020 get? But we do have to be prepared for active hurricane season. So I know Spencer is going to talk about that this morning as well, and what we can do, what we need to be aware of. But I'm gonna turn it over to Spencer with just one more comment, and that is, as we go through this, you all are leaders in our community. And that's why this forum today is very important. It really is a matter of preparing yourself for what could come through the rest of 2020, particularly the hurricane season, but making sure that the people around you that you influence are prepared as well. They need to take responsibility, educate themselves. There's a responsibility for all of us, and you can communicate that and influence those people much better than I can as a typical politician or even government language. You can get the message out as well, probably better than us. So please help us do that as we move forward here through 2020. And my prayers, like you, my prayers and thoughts are, please don't let 2020 get any worse than it already is when it comes to disasters. But we're a great community, and want to end on a very positive note before turning it over to Spencer. We're a great community where we'll always pull together, and we are here as Lake County. We're here to support you. We represent you. You are our bosses. We are also here to help the cities as well. So we will work together. I will point out that we have great relationships through EOC, particularly when it comes to these disasters, hurricanes, with City of Claremont, Groveland, Mascot, Mineola, and Montford as well. So I do want to point that out as well. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Spencer, who has a presentation for us. Spencer?
Thank you, Commissioner Parks, and thank you, South Lake Chamber, for having me. I do appreciate this time. And in that same vein, this presentation is it's focused on hurricane season, because we're going into hurricane season. It's focused on the individual responsibility of everyone in the community to be prepared. But this presentation deals with all hazards. So we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Spencer Costas. I'm the Operations Coordinator for the Lake County Office of Emergency Management. I've been with the Office of Emergency Management for 8 years. Prior to that, I was a paramedic with Lake EMS working in the Claremont area. And prior to that, I was a non-commissioned officer in the 82nd Airborne Division. So I have boots on the ground military experience, boots on the ground public safety experience, and then experience in the Emergency Operations Center during actual disasters for the past 8 years. So that is my background, and let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk a little bit about hurricanes, technical discussion, then we'll go into the meat and potatoes of how to prepare, and at the end we'll get to your questions and answers. So let's talk about hurricanes and weather terminology. Anything less than 38 miles an hour is considered a tropical depression. Anything that is 39 miles an hour or greater is a tropical storm, and that's when it receives a name. A hurricane would be 74 miles an hour or greater, and then a major hurricane or a Category 3 hurricane is sustained winds of 111 miles an hour or greater. Now, this number is important because during the weather conditions of sustained 39 miles an hour greater wind, that's when these services are temporarily suspended. And the reason for that is if you see these vehicles like transportation, ambulance service, fire service, they have a higher center of gravity, and it's difficult for the operator of that vehicle to maintain safe operations on the roadway during those conditions. So that's the reason why that 39 miles an hour greater impact sustained in the community, especially in the Emergency Operations Center, because that triggers our planning for what's called population protective actions. And this is how they're measured. We use the Saffir-Simpson Hurricane Wind Scale, and we're always talking about sustained winds over a period of 1 minute. So you have your Category 1s through your Category 5, and as the wind speed increases, the damage for wind-borne debris also increases, as you can see there on the scale. Well, when do they occur? Right now, we're in hurricane season. They occur from June 1st to November 30th, and they historically peak in August to September into late October. So September is going to be the peak, the actual peak of hurricane season, and then around mid-October, we receive a little bit of bump of activity, and then the latter part of October, that's when it's typically over. These are the 2020 hurricane season names. As you can see, we're already three deep. Cristobal's in the Gulf of Mexico. It looks like we're not going to have any direct impacts to that. In Lake County, however, over the weekend, we are going to be throughout. We're going to be on the hurricane season list is Dolly, and you can see on the right-hand side of the screen the 2020 Atlantic season outlook. The official outlook from the Hurricane Center calls for 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 6 major hurricanes. And to put that into perspective, a typical year is 12 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 to 3 major hurricanes. So you can see that we are on the above normal side of this season. However, we're already 3 deep into it. So we need to maintain our vigilance, and we need to be prepared now for the season, as it looks like it's going to be above normal. So let's talk about how you can prepare. Well, Preparedness is essential to avoid the last-minute rush on scarce resources. We all have experienced this, the sight of shelves that are bare, especially with paper products with the COVID-19 outbreak. That has since stabilized. But what we are encouraging you all, especially the citizens of Lake County and the businesses of Lake County, is we've already seen that crush of resources before hurricane season, and it may be difficult to get resources. So as you see things, whenever you go to the store, whenever you go to the big box store to get your groceries, whatever it is, try to collect everything that you need for a hurricane kit now, piece by piece, every time that you go, just to make it a little bit easier on everyone, but you're still trying to prepare. So what can you do? 4-pronged plan: get a kit, make a plan, stay informed, and get involved. And let's talk about what would be in your hurricane kit. So we recommend at least a 5-day supply of food and water, 1 gallon of water per person per day, and non-perishable food items. If it's going to be canned goods, the ones that are the pop tops. If you don't have anything like that, make sure that you at least have a manual can opener. And I put this on the screen. This is interesting. I don't know if you all have ever seen this. This is a hermetically sealed water bladder that you can have as part of your hurricane kit. This is called an aqua pod or water bob. And this is actually pretty neat. I like this product because you can rapidly stockpile water before any sort of water services are contaminated for whatever reason. Post-storm, pre-storm, you can stockpile your water for cooking, for cleaning, for washing, and everything else like that. Those run anywhere between $30 and $40 on Amazon. I'm not paid by them, but I think it's actually a pretty neat product. It's cheap insurance where you can stockpile water pretty rapidly. So I do like that product. Other things with your kit: the medicines, the first aid, toiletries. We know that was difficult to get. Now that's stabilized. In addition, with the COVID-19 environment in which we're living, per CDC guidance, we recommend that you have both hand sanitizer and at least 2 cloth masks per individual in your kit. That's a new addition with the current COVID-19 environment. In addition to your kit, clothing, rain gear, sturdy shoes, everything that you would need for that. NOAA weather radio that's battery powered in case commercial power goes offline. At least you can still receive those alerts. And a flashlight and extra batteries. You can see in this presentation there's the headlamp. I use those extensively when I was overseas in Iraq, and they're fantastic at nighttime. Whenever lights out, you can still use both hands to do whatever it is that you need to do in your business or in your community, and you can still have that light. What I recommend every time I get this presentation is to consider battery consolidation when it comes to whatever you have in. So the amps, if they both use AA batteries, that's better, where you can just get a pack of AA batteries as opposed to having both AA, AAA, C-cell batteries, everything else like that. What I also stress is cash, and cash is king, cash in multiple and smaller denominations. And I like this picture because this is an individual. It's obviously at a convenience store, and for whatever reason, the power may have been off and it got back online, but he's still in business. You can actually see on his chest, he has taped a piece of paper that says cash only, but he's still in business. He still has commerce, and that's important. So that's what I tell people. Don't always rely on plastic that you have in your wallet. You need to have cash as well when it comes to being prepared. Obviously, you don't want to forget about your pets. Pets are just like family. All of the same things apply. Food and water, bowls, pet carrier, everything else like that. The other items to consider would be your important documents, your insurance policies, your financial records, to make sure that all of that is scanned and located in a secure area. At the very least, if container as part of your hurricane kit, that way if you evacuate or you need to leave the establishment, you can still reconstitute your business, you can still reconstitute your life, as long as you have all of these important documents, and it's something that we don't want people to forget. these are other items to consider after Hurricane Irma. The Lake County, right after Hurricane Irma, lost 77% of its commercial power. So it's important that you consider an emergency power plan, a personal emergency power plan, or business emergency power plan. And with that, if you're going to have a generator, in order to still maintain that online presence, make sure that you have everything that you need in order to maintain that generator: the oil, the spark plugs, the manual, read the manual, the cable locks to prevent theft. Also, carbon monoxide detector that is battery powered. That's extremely important. To have the fuel cans with the fuel stabilizer. I recommend if you're going to be using a generator, go to Wawa or any of the other convenience stores that have marine grade gasoline that is ethanol free. And the reason that I recommend that is the ethanol tends to degrade the small components and the small engines of those generators, and it stays fresh a lot longer. So what I typically do is the first weekend of hurricane season, I'll take all my fuel cans, I'll fill them up and make sure that they're good with fuel stabilizer. I'm good for the season. It'll last throughout the season. And then once that's done around the beginning of the new year, I'll just dump that into the truck, burn it off, and then get new fuel for what would be considered the stormy season in Lake County. So that's anywhere between January and March is considered our stormy season. And for the individuals that have been in Lake County for a long time, you probably remember the Groundhog Day tornadoes on February 2nd, 2007. It was the second deadliest tornado outbreak in Florida history. But that has the potential of knocking out commercial power. So it is essential that you have the ability to maintain that online presence throughout the year, not just in hurricane season. Also part of that is to make a plan. If you don't have your own personal preparedness plan, the Florida Division of Emergency Management has a fantastic website. It's flgetaplan.com. It takes about 10 minutes. You can go online, put in your personal information. It's exempt from sunshine law, and at the end of that 10 minutes, it spits you out a personal preparedness plan, it's fantastic. Other things to consider is your escape routes, your evacuation plan. If you have an out-of-state contact, if you're going to be going out of state for whatever reason, at least that you have that point of contact. The phone list with your important contacts, a meeting place, a localized meeting place, or a meeting place if you are going to be evacuating. And of course, your medical information is also important to take with you. Maintaining your situational awareness by staying informed is essential during a disaster or an emergency. Once again, that NOAA weather radio, but I would like to plug Alert Lake. alertlake.com, that is our mass notification system in Lake County. I'm the administrator of the system, and we use it for a variety of notifications, and it runs the gamut from notifications of severe weather from the National Weather Service to hazardous material notifications to curfews that may be in effect or missing persons. It just runs the gamut. And if you go to alertlake.com, it's completely free. It takes about 2 minutes to register, and you will receive all of those alerts. So that's outstanding to maintain your situational awareness. And obviously, are important to monitor as well. And these are just a variety of ways of getting involved. Houses of worship, they have a variety of disaster volunteer groups throughout their congregations. HOAs, sometimes they have disaster volunteer groups that they bring together. The American Red Cross is fantastic for a nonprofit organization. Laser, our Lake Sumter emergency recovery. That's our 501c3 that we've been working with very heavily through the COVID-19 outbreak in order to help support businesses, in order to help support the community, and working with those faith-based organizations, and they've been fantastic with that. We also have disaster volunteer groups and sometimes neighborhood watch groups whenever they set up. That's just another way of getting involved. So let's talk about what to do before the storm. Well, inspect and secure your business. Make sure that the trees, anything that would be considered wind-borne debris is already taken care of. If you have any sort of outdoor furniture, make sure that you at least move that, bring it in, secure it, remove any sort of outdoor decorations that you have, and then window protection. Obviously, you don't want to be standing in line at Home Depot 48 hours before a storm impacts you. It's better to prepare for that now in order to protect the building envelope. And you can see that these are numbered, and the reason that these are numbered in the slideshow deck is these individuals have already pre-cut the plywood for each one of the windows to protect the building envelope. So you're doing the work beforehand by numbering which panel goes to which window, and it's nice to have like an associated little map of whatever the building envelope would be in order to rapidly put all of that up. Other things to consider, especially in the COVID-19 environment, is to shelter in place. Now, the message that we are sending out to the public is, if you live in a site-built home that's built up to Florida code, you need a shelter in place. Okay, you will be safer at home if you shelter in place. However, if you don't have the ability to do that, then contact a family or friend that would live in a site-built home. That way you can go to them. If that's not an option, then consider staying at a hotel or motel. And of course, we always have our Lake County shelters, but those shelters should always be considered as a refuge of last resort. And you need to evaluate your current needs and weigh the options based on what your location is, what the threat is, and whether or not you need to either evacuate or shelter in place. Now let's talk about our shelters, or what we're calling refuges of last resort. The shelter life is going to be challenging, especially within the COVID-19 environment. We're going to be the cloth masks and the coverings per CDC guidance for congregate sheltering. That's going to be required. It's going to be limited spaces within the shelter in order to maintain social distancing. Just be aware of that. And it's going to be general population. So you're going to be surrounded by strangers for an extended period of time. And what we know about the virus is that it transmits indoors for an extended period of time. That there is going to be an inherent risk. It's not like you're going to Home Depot or Walmart and you're around those individuals and you're leaving. You're going to be staying for the duration of the event of the storm. So there is going to be some inherent risk there. Make sure that you bring your own supplies. Everything that I already talked about with the hurricane kit, if you're going to be going to one of our refuges of last resort, you need to bring everything so that you are prepared. And the meals that we have are probably going to be prepackaged. So if you have any special dietary issues, you need to consider that before going to one of our shelters. Bring your own bedding. We have that there because some shelters are not going to have cots the way that we traditionally think, shelters with the cots nice in a nice, neat little row. This is a refuge of last resort, just a place for an individual that can get out of harm's way for the duration of the event, and then they can move on with the recovery phase. And of course, the additional personal cleaning supplies, that's always helpful to have on hand. And these are our primary shelters throughout Lake County. We have 15. We use all schools, as you can see. And we have a variety of different shelters. They're all considered public shelters, but some shelters have a pet-friendly abilities, and other shelters are considered both pet-friendly and special needs. And the reason that those particular schools are special needs shelters is because they have backup generators. And our special needs clients are the ones that are independently, they are medically dependent on electrical equipment, and they need to go to a place where if commercial power is offline, then they can still maintain that electrical equipment, that life-saving electrical equipment. Of course, during the storm, know where your safe room is, go into an interior location without any sort of windows or skylights, monitor your local media and your NOAA weather radio to maintain your situational awareness, and just realize that the home environment is going to be challenging, especially if it's going to be a major storm and you are sheltering in place, you're going to be sheltering in probably either a master closet or a master bathroom or something to that effect. And it is going to be challenging to be there for an extended period of time. Obviously, you want to stay away from doors, windows, or skylights. And the open refrigerator only when necessary. That's if commercial power goes offline and you can't set up a backup generator during the actual storm itself. Now, I harp on the weather radio and local media outlets, but we also have the Lake County website at lakecountyfl.gov. Whenever we activate the Emergency Operations Center during a hurricane, it flips to the Emergency Operations Center or EOC website. And that's a fantastic way to get real-time, up-to-date information. Our Office of Communications is outstanding in making sure that the public is informed and continues to stay informed. And also, we have our Citizens Information Line, 352-253-9999, where people can call. We have live operators. It's actually live right now. It has been live for the past couple of months that we've been dealing with COVID. So that's always an option, and it's a fantastic resource because you are actually getting a live operator that can answer any of your questions. Now, what is interesting about the business community is that you all have your own hotline within the EOC. And we take that very seriously with our Agency for Economic Prosperity. They are constantly there trying to gauge what's happening with the business community. And if you have any questions or concerns, that hotline is manned during activation for a hurricane. But obviously, take pictures of your business and furnishings for insurance purposes. The other resource that we have is floridadisaster.biz. If you haven't registered, pre-register. You can do your business damage assessment survey, the Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program, and the CARES Act. All of that information. I'm sure that you are all aware of CARES Act and how that works. But if you're not, floridadisaster.biz is a fantastic resource. And this is my final slide. I love this slide. Within the red box is Lake County, and this is a graphical representation of every landfall and tropical cyclone to impact Lake County since 1851 to 2012. So I love this slide, and it imparts the need to be prepared to maintain your individual preparedness throughout the season. And that's all I have. I would love to have any questions if you all have any. I do see a question. It's, can we get a copy of the presentation? Absolutely. I would love to send this out.
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and send that over, we'll go ahead and share it on our platforms as well with the video. Do you have anything?
Just
Yeah.
there's a checklist that you can.
Is there a checklist that you can share with us for preparing?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yes, I can send that out.
If anyone else has any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. Ryan has a question. Go ahead.
Hey, Spencer. Great job. It's Ryan with the Red Cross and also Rapid Response Courier Service. Just a kudos to the Lake County EOC. We do some work with them with the Red Cross, and they are instrumental in preparing and just a top-notch in pre-planning, for disasters and making sure we're all safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. I do appreciate it. And Ryan and I, we work whenever we activate the Emergency Operations Center through the American Red Cross. They're a fantastic organization, and I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Another question just came across. Does Lake County have contracts for additional power or additional temporary climate control when needed?
In reference to, I would need to know a little bit more about what is that in reference to?
Donald, let me go ahead and unmute you so you can answer that question for Spencer. Oh my God. Hold on, we're having
Can you hear me?
Yep, there you go.
Okay,
I can hear you.
yeah. I'm looking to see if Lake County has contracts for additional power, climate control when needed for power companies that are coming in to set everything up, businesses that are offline that want to be online. Do you have preferred vendor lists? How do you get the word out for businesses on who to contact?
I'm going to have to follow up with that. Off the top of my head, I don't know that information, but I can get with our procurement folks and I can get you the information that you need, absolutely.
No worries.
Great, thank you.
I might have an answer for that too.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, and certainly Spencer and I will track that down for you. But I know that's one of the evolving roles of Laser is to potentially facilitate that information about who to go to afterwards, and you know, have that information available. So we'll get that out to you.
And then the next question is, could you touch on how active of a season this will be?
Yes, so let me go back to that slide. The season is forecast to be above normal, so 60% possibility of it being above normal season, and I can tell you that we have never had a C storm, cristobal, a C named storm this early in the season. So if that is any indication, which I hope it is not, it is going to be, in fact, an above normal season with the 13 to 19 named storms. And yes, that is currently what they're forecasting. They come out with a mid-season forecast around August, so that's going to give us a little bit better idea as to what the season is going to look like right before the peak of the season. So look for that update from the National Hurricane Center around August. They'll send a mid-season outlook.
Okay, and then just a comment that Ryan put in here. His business Rapid Response offers low-cost deliveries to seniors and folks with mobility issues to ensure they have all everyday needs and the needs that they have for hurricane season as well. So just so everyone is aware of that. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'd like to ask Sean. Sean, do you have any remarks that you'd like to make before we wrap it up?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Spencer again. We're so proud of what he does and what Tommy does and our staff. We're really blessed to have Spencer with us. And I would again just like to stress that we appreciate your help in getting this message out. This will be available to you. Please, your leaders in the community, be a part of helping us get everybody prepared. It is their responsibility ultimately. We offer the tools. This is a tool. This is a way. This is what we do. This will help them. This will help everybody in our community be more prepared. I also would like to really thank the role that Tommy and Spencer have with Laser. It's something that's been mentioned a few times now. I really would like the chamber and all of you leaders to track what Laser is doing. And that's what happens. Laser takes care of what happens after a disaster. And so we're working with Laser right now through COVID-19 distribution of food to those that are in need, business preparedness or business assistance after COVID-19. But Laser will be there and be a big player. Heaven forbid we get hit with a hurricane. Laser will follow up with disaster recovery as well. So perhaps we can touch on that subject at a later date. We could probably talk a whole session about what Laser does as well and how you can support Laser, because we need the business community to support Laser as well.
Yeah, that's great, Sean. Well, thank you, Sean, for organizing the forum today, and thank you for all you do on an ongoing basis. We really appreciate your help and your support. I think I'll turn it back over to you, Spencer. If there's any concluding remarks or anything else you want to tell us about Laser, I know they're doing a lot of great work. We're pretty familiar with them here at the chamber, but if there's any remarks about Laser that you just want the folks on the call to be aware of, I'll turn it to you, Spencer.
Thank you. And yes, as Commissioner Parks said, Laser has been extremely fundamental in helping us be the conduit between government and nonprofits and the business community and the faith-based community. So if you are not aware of Laser and what their capabilities are, please contact our office and we will help facilitate that relationship between you as the business community and Laser and us in the Office of Emergency Management. we really do like that role, and we will leverage the ability of laser with the faith-based and the non-profits, along with the business community, to help with the recovery of a disaster. And I would like to thank Commissioner Parks again, and South Lake Chamber, and you all. I do appreciate everything that you've been doing. I understand that it's been extremely difficult for everyone for the past couple of months. It's an extremely difficult time, and I just want to thank you for everything that you all have done.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Spencer. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call. Again, this has been recorded. It will be available, and Amanda will have some resources, and we'll get that out to everyone so you can have a copy of the presentation. So we do have another chamber event on Friday, our first Friday connection. We hope that you folks will join us then as well. So everyone stay safe and have a great day.